A solo survival game in a haunted exclusion zone. That's right, today we're talking about Alone Against the Zone. Let's break it down. Well, hi, hello, everybody. My name is Turk. Welcome back to the Grouch Couch. Around here, we do all different kinds of solo RPG things, but that's right, today we're talking about and playing a little bit of Alone Against the Zone. It's pretty exciting, fairly-ish new release from the same folks who made 4 Against Darkness. From my research, that's what I found out. And, you know me, I'm all about apocalypse stuff and into the world, kind of creepy, modern stuff. I'm really into that kind of shenanigans. So, of course, this is right up my alley. In fact, I actually made a video called Apocalypses are the best themes for solo RPGs. Go watch that video. I spent a lot of work on it. But half of the comments were, Turk, you need to play Alone Against the Zone. The funny thing was, I literally already had it coming in the mail before I made that video. And today, we're finally going to cover it. Now, I've seen some of my other solo RPG friends playing this thing and fooling around with it. And I have like completely tried not to click or look at any of their videos because I want to go into this thing blind a little bit. But thus far, it does look like generally it's getting decent enough feedback, but I will be the judge of that today. Yes, I will. I also want to say on our Twitch every Monday, we're actually doing a live, like, collaborative with chat solo RPG that deals with anomalies and 2 characters in the apocalypse going through different zones. So I was kind of like, this is wild. It's wild that this has come out around this time. So of course we have to check it out. There's been a lot of zone TTRPGs happening recently, and so this kind of falls into that category for me. But without any other further jibber jabber, I do want to say big shout out to the Couch crew. All of you guys, thank you so much for dang old supporting the friggin' show. I really appreciate you so much. All right, so thank you so much. And if you want this bad boy, there will be a link down in the description. And if it is to Drive Through RPG, it will help support the show. So thank you so much for using that link if you want to get this thing for yourself. Cool. I might cut this bit in later, but just know I have some thoughts about this game, and we're going to leave them for after the example of play section. All right, we're going to talk about my thoughts on this. It's not, well, they're not great. All right, so check out that. But we're going to do an example of play first. Yes. All right, to the top-down camera, I say. Here we are. So I do have our character sheets. I went and printed these out. You can get like a free PDF of this stuff for yourself. We're actually going to be drawing on a zone map the whole time, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to make sure to get us a clipboard so we can draw on that. Now I have read through a little bit of this and started building out my character, but you're only supposed to read to like page 36 or something like that. Then after that, it's all pretty much spoilers for the story. I feel like from my first impressions, this is kind of like choose your own adventure kind of thing, but with hexes. So we shall see. But also from my reading, the going through different hexes kind of thing really works for solo RPGs. Solo hex crawls just work, right? They really do. And you'll be able to find similar gameplay to this in like Land of Eam. And also, more should be mentioned, but Courier. Courier is an apocalypse game where you're delivering mail through the end of the apocalypse, and it literally uses hex crawl mechanics. So if you're interested in something like this, but the zone isn't for you, Alone Against the Zone isn't for you, check out Courier or Land of Eam because they use the same little mechanic. And I think that it's at least a similar mechanic, and I think that it's fantastic. I really enjoy games that do that. Okay, now that that's out of the way, Alone Against the Zone. I do like the edge of the pages here. It's pretty cool, the little theme that they did there. All the way around, mutations haunt the crumbling ruins, unnatural anomalies binge reality. Literally what we're doing on Twitch right now. Storms mercilessly erase the careless. You carry little, a weapon, a faded map, and a stubborn will to survive. You must walk, you must listen, you will hopefully endure. I hate all of these periods in here. Why is there so many periods? Solo survival adventure game focused on exploration, hard choices, and survival. You play as a lone operative venturing into a shattered exclusion zone. Exclusion. Combat is fast and unforgiving. Resources are scarce, but death is everywhere. Very good. Theme-wise, I've heard different things about the theme going into this. You know, something about roadside picnic, which I'm unfamiliar with. Something about a couple other things. Russian dudes. I don't know. Nothing about it. Table of contents we're checking out here today. Yes, it's also a 2d6 game. So we're going to get a little zoom on our little dice camera. Dice camera zoom. There it is. Just right there so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, what about our theme? You've seen wastelands before. Scorched highways, neon ruins, wild tribes. The zone is different. The zone is silence. Cracked concrete, bent rail lines vanishing into fog. No retrofuturism, no vaults, no heroes. Just the remnants of a world that collapsed. What is that, like a shout out to Fallout or something? We throwing shade right now? I like Fallout. Why are we throwing shade? Quietly under the weight of secret science and something no one ever understood. Here things shift, and remember, the zone is dreaming, and it might be dreaming of you. Very good, very fine. The art here is definitely pretty fun. Really enjoy that little art piece. One other thing I will say, caveat to this, I don't like the way any of the words are written in this book. Some of you might know what I mean when I say that. I don't know. Yeah, there's just something about the way this is written that I didn't really enjoy. I didn't enjoy reading it. That's just me though. You guys might like it a lot. I don't know. Moving on. No one remembers how it began. Maybe secret experiments shattered the laws of nature. Maybe ancient powers disturbed a vengeful altered reality. What is certain is this. Everything within the zone has changed. The zone breathes and hungers. Mutated creatures haunt the ruins. Storms tear at the earth and sky alike. Even reality here bends, cracks, and sometimes it just vanishes. They say there's a settlement somewhere in the zone, a flickering light in the dark, or perhaps it's a trap patiently waiting for its next victim. You carry little, same bit from the back of the book. Faded map, a stubborn will to survive. Roads are broken, vehicles too dangerous to be used. You must walk, you must listen, you will, hopefully, endure. Alone Against the Zone is a solo survival adventure game in the Saturday Exclusion Zone, where dark lurks behind every building. Yes, we got that part. You play as a lone operative, scavenger, explorer, survivor, venturing into the zone, following the echoes of the zone, traces of missions, secrets, and forgotten purposes. Each echo you pursue, leads you further into the unknown, shaping a larger campaign that chronicles your journey. Gameplay revolves around exploring unknown territories, making tactical decisions, managing resources, and facing random dangers summoned by dice rolls. Combat is fast and unforgiving. Every TTRPG says that. Don't lie to me, okay? Don't lie to me about your fast and unforgiving combat. I'll be the judge of that. Death is permanent, but even failure leaves its own mark on the world, so it's hinting at like a roguelike kind of thing. We shall see. How to win. Your journey through the zone is guided by echoes of the zone, mysterious paths that pull you deeper into its heart. You must follow 3 different echoes to unlock the final mission. Another neat little art piece. Yes, very neat. We need 2 6-sided dice, an operative sheet, and a pencil and paper for mapping and note-taking. How to play the game. And Alone Against the Zone, you take on the role of a operative venturing into the heart of the dangerous. Like, I feel like, didn't we just read this? See what I mean? Your journey is structured around a repeating cycle. Move, explore, scavenge, move on. This is cool. I like this. This is very neat. It says move, explore, scavenge. It's very cool. Around the radiation symbol. Okay, we move to a sector, discover what's there. We face enemies, anomalies, survivors, or environmental threats. After surviving a sector, you may attempt to find useful gear. Then you move on. Proceed carefully into the next sector. Low-key, again, what we're doing on Twitch. Haha. Link in description every Monday, 5 p.m. PST if you want to join us there. Okay. Then we walk through creating our character. The fun thing is that this game actually includes 3 sample characters, which I did actually kind of enjoy, and I was pretty tempted almost just to play one of these for the example of play that we're doing today. We have Kolya the rat, Sister Halina, and Colonel Vason. So those are the example characters. I didn't name my character yet, but we'll come up with something today. But we get stats, and it also says you start with 8 life and 8 rad resistance, but then later it says that you get 3 upgrades, and of course you're going to pick 1 health and 1 rad resistance, but I guess you could do it any way you want to. So I just put those in there. And then you also get 2 skills to start, but one of your upgrades is an additional skill. So our character right now has agility, so we get extra bonuses on agility. We get danger sense, so it's harder for us to be surprised. And we have dead eyes. We get +1 whenever we use our shotgun, which, by the way, our character started with a sawed-off double shotgun. And we have binoculars, which give us +1 to explore. And we have a detector. And all the details to that, I just put page 109. So we can go there whenever we feel like we need to. And we'll cover it again so we can remember. Righteous. And then we start by rolling our first echo. And these are all the potential skills that you could get. You know, we have agility, like I said here. We have +1 to defense and agility rolls. Then we also have danger sense. So some foes have a chance of surprising us, but since we have this skill, it's a 2 in 6 chance instead of 3 in 6 chance. Those are just the ones I was just like, this seems interesting. Let's do that. Okay, then we have our core mechanics. And we'll skim through this a little bit. I've already read, but we'll skim, just so you guys know. Oh, but wait, we need to... I rolled on... See, in the way that the pages are formatted is wild. Our first echo. We roll on the echoes of the zone table on 31 to start our game. And the echo that we got... Oh, it's right here. We got lost transmission. So we're hearing a transmission. Echo number 3 right here. Lost transmission. A distorted signal pulses through the static, faint, fragmented, and looping endlessly. No origin listed, no response to hails. Just one tag embedded deep in the noise. This is bromolite. This is bromolite. 742144352. Maybe it's just a broken beacon. Others say it's a voice calling out from something the zone never meant to leave behind. You started hearing it more often in the hiss of old radios and in your dreams. Trace the signal, follow it north. Objectives: hear the bromolite signal in 3 different sectors. March each detection on your map. Once all 3 are logged, roll a d6 and move that many sectors directly north from your current location. Mark the destination as Echo 3. Trigger event 57, page 136. See, it kind of reminds me of a choose your own adventure. You go to whatever page to do whatever thing, but it's like Hexcrawl style. So we'll see how it works. And that's why I was interested in playing this. I almost didn't play this because I was like, I don't enjoy reading this, but I think the mechanics are fun. So we're going to do it. Moving on. Clues. You get fragments of knowledge. Sometimes they're used to trigger special encounters, but if a text somewhere says clues may help, we can spend a clue to increase our roll by +1. And it says spend a clue. So I'm assuming that it's like a currency that we spend because it says spend. So I'm assuming that we could run out of clues. Dice codes. We all know about all these. Roll a d3, d6, 2d6, etc. Skills and save rolls. Whenever you attempt an action with a risk of failure, you roll a d6. Classic. Equal to or higher. Important. Then you succeed. A roll of 6 is always success. Roll of 1 is always a failure. You can apply modifiers from relevant skills, weapons, or gear. You can. Just like figure it out, basically. What it says here. Skill rolls include strength rolls, save rolls, stealth rolls, charisma rolls, and others depending on the situation. Example of a strength roll. If you have a strength of +1 in your roll and you're a strength expert, add +2. With no relevant skill, you need to roll a 5 or higher with the strength skill of 4 or higher. Very good. I feel like that was a little bit of a drone. So, as it doesn't really say here, but L5. L is like our difficulty that we need to beat whenever making rolls. I think that's the important. We also have rules for a combat sequence. We determine our surprise. We act in our turn order. So, we cannot get surprised. Well, we can get surprised. It's harder for us to get surprised, though. And then we act in turn order. We act first. We make an attack roll. If the foe survives, they retaliate, and we make defense rolls, and then we do combat resolution. Pretty straightforward kind of stuff here. We're not breaking the mold. Whenever we attack, we roll a d6. We get any bonuses from our anything, and then we divide the results by the enemy's level, rounding down. Final number is how much damage you inflict. So it looks like we don't roll to succeed, we just deal damage. And then if the opponent lives, they retaliate. Fair enough. We have fire rate in here, unarmed combat. We also have exploding dice. Anytime we get a 6 on our d6, when we're attacking anyway, it explodes and we roll again for extra damage. Whenever we roll a natural 1 on an attack roll using a firearm, marked as rusted, the shot misses and the weapon jams. So natural 1s are always failures. Very good. Which kind of makes sense because if you're dividing, you can't divide by 1, right? So interesting. Okay. When a foe attacks, we make a defense roll, which we have advantages on. Well, at least we get extra bonuses for those. Very good. We have escape rolls and stealth rolls. After determining an encounter before combat even begins, you may attempt a stealth roll to avoid fighting. When making a stealth roll, on a success, you bypass the foe and avoid combat. It's kind of cool. So you could just sneak through the zone if you wanted to. I got a shotgun, and I was like thinking about the shotgun, and I was like, dude, how cool is like sawed-off shotgun? I don't know what movie it's from, but the dude with the 2 sawed-off shotguns, and he like shoots them and like flips them around and like puts them in his armpits and like recocks the shotguns and flips them. Is that like a Terminator move? I don't know what that was from, dude, but that's all I was thinking. I was like, sick, dude. Sawed off shotgun. I think those are also single shot shotguns, but double barrel's still cool. I'm a little all over the place today. I hope you're enjoying this chaotic version of this here video here. All right, moving on here. The zone is divided into a grid. Oh, I wanted a clipboard, so easier for us to write on. So each sector on the grid represents a piece of terrain. Abandoned streets, ruins, industrial sites, or open ground. You begin your journey by entering the map grid from the south. Very good. As you explore, assign each sector a number, starting from 1. We got a little example down here, which I think is clever, right down there. Very good. We can also draw topographical things if we want to remember or return to it later. We move into any adjacent sector except those marked as impassable. Each move represents about 2 hours of travel. When we get into an unexplored sector, we mark it with the number, then we proceed to exploration. If it's already been explored, we could have a random encounter. Path, write the sector number of the current hex in the path field beneath the map notes. Oh, so we know which way we have gone in case we backtrack. There's a path field here. Very good. There are safe houses, enemies, food consumption, and starving. We could find trails as an optional rule. Very cool. We're not going to do optional rules today. Just give me the game. Okay, when we explore, so this is kind of like a lot of stuff I've actually been playing recently. You roll on exploration, you roll on location, then you improv on what it is. Fair enough. So we roll on exploration table, and then we roll on the Rusty Marshes table, or Dark Hollows, or etc. So we explore. After resolving the encounter, we can scavenge. So we'll roll a d6 on the scavenging table. We add +1 if we have tracker skill. Subtract 1 for each previous scavenging attempt in that sector, each dot. We cannot scavenge if it has a safe house, if there's unresolved threats, or if we fled from an encounter. encounter, so we can't scavenge if we sneak through. Surge warning. At first, it's barely noticeable. A high-pitched whine on your Grieger. Lights flickering in a gear that isn't even turned on. Then it gets worse. Shadows bend in the wrong way. Radios pick up voices and languages no one speaks. Veterans know the signs. They don't talk about them, so they just pick up and walk fast. Some events will give you a surge warning. Keep track of them as you travel. At 12 plus, a zone surge approaches. Proceed to event 6 on page 122. Okay. If it's reduced to 0, we die. We can recover between missions. Life and rad resistance, I mean. We can prevent death by acquiring an injury or a mark of the zone. Interesting. Preserving gear. So if we return to the place where we died, like as another character, so we're building out this map and then we can play through it again. That's kind of fun. If we know where we died as a new character, we can go back through and get stuff. That's fun. We could have hidden caches and stuff. That's fun. Then we have injuries, so we can preserve our death and get injuries instead, or a mark of the zone. These look kind of fun, actually. I like these roll charts. Very good. Cool. We have some rules for all of our ammos and weapons and stuff like that. Very good. It all looks pretty straightforward. Kind of like exactly what you would expect. I didn't say anything extra there. We do get XP and advancement in this. A standard combat encounter awards 1 XP, while defeating especially powerful opponents, if noted, grants 2 XP. And I didn't show, but on our skills, you can see each one of these is marked by an XP. So if we get 3 XP, we could get Purifier or Stealth or Strength, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So we do get XP, which is fun. We may spend XP at any time to learn a new skill or upgrade an existing skill to expert level, paying the same XP cost in both cases. You can also save XP just for later. Well, yes. Duh. Okay, Echoes of the Zone. And the Echo is our overarching story for our character. We're following Echoes of the Zone. So it's our big overarching goal, our drive, pretty much. Once we get 3 Echoes of the Zone, 3 or more Echo fragments, and choose to begin the final mission, proceed to event 14 on page 125. Cool. And again, we got Lost Transmission, which I already read earlier. Then we have a fun side missions table, which we can do side missions whenever we go to safe houses. If there's a trader, scientist, hunter, or medic, we can actually do a side mission for them to get stuff. Now we're at page 36, which I do believe this is where the game kind of starts a little bit. This is as far as I've read before. So, it's almost time to begin, my friends. Start by completing your operative and rolling for your echo. Then choose a direction, step into the first hex, and turn to the zone exploration table. The zone will take it from there. So now, let's name our operative. We've got a shotgun and agility and everything. All we need is a name. Let's see if this can help us. This is Table Fables Modern. Okay, are we going to be masculine names or feminine names? We roll a d4. Here we go. What is this? What is this? Oh, it's a 2. Okay, very good. So, feminine name. And we roll d100. That is a 13. Our name is Cecilia. We are Cecilia. What is our last name? 73. Cecilia Vaughn. Okay. All right. I also have, straight up, I have a D3. This is a 3-sided dice. It's got 3 sides to it. So if we have to roll a D3 at any time, I've got it. That's a 1. You can see that's a 3. Okay, now let's roll on our exploration table. We're going into the zone, folks. It's the time. The gameplay has begun. We're going to start from the south. Let's start in this one. 1, 2d6. That is a 5. Roll on the Railway Remnants table. Railway Remnants table. Is it a d6? It is. That's a 5. The Broken Bridge. A ruined rail bridge spans a dried riverbed. Tracks end midair, bent and jagged. As you cross the overgrown ravine, you suddenly realize that you're surrounded. Roll on the Lost Ones table, page 96. The foes act first. We've just gotten here. Do we already die? Lost One tables. D6. That is a 4. The Living Dead. 3d6 Living Dead. Shambling remnants of humanity. Movements of the living dead are clumsy, but their numbers overwhelm the unwary. Okay, there are 3d6 Living Dead. Let me grab another d6 here. There we go. Are you sure it's 3d6? Because that's 12. There are 12 zombies here on this bridge. Okay, so they have 1 life, so we need to do 12 points of damage in total. They deal 1 damage, but they are slow. So if we want to just run away and escape, we can. Like if we don't want to fight these guys, we absolutely can. Let's just go and double check what escape looks like. Escape rolls. If you want to flee from combat, you can attempt an escape roll. Roll a d6 and compare it to the foe's level. If your roll is equal to or higher than the foe's level, you successfully escape. Move to any adjacent previously explored sector and immediately roll a 1 in 6 chance for the random encounter, unless the new sector is a safe house. Immediately move to any previously explored sector. We don't have that, so I guess we could just go to another sector. But if we fail our escape, we immediately take the foe's damage. So it would be 12 damage in total. So maybe we try to shoot some of them and then escape. I think that's the only real logical option here, because our shotgun does +2 damage. It has FR4, which I don't know what that means, or FR2, fire range maybe. But their level is 2, and we have a +1. So I don't know if we can fail this roll. Does it have to be higher? If your roll is equal to or higher than the foe's level. So literally we cannot fail. We cannot fail the escape. So let's go on ahead and just escape. 6. Okay, we rushed the heck out of there. Now I'm just going to put 12 zombies here, and we're going to move to this one. 2. We're running up here. Sheesh, now we have a 1 in 6 chance for a random event. So if we get a 1, it's a random event. Whoops, in the box, please. That is literally a 1. Okay, unless the new sector is a safe house. I don't know if it is. Okay, well, where the shit is the random event table? There is a bunch of events, but I feel like those events are tied to story. So where's the random event? Random encounter, not event. It's called encounter. Okay, maybe that helped. There is encounters table, so maybe we roll on this. Okay, sounds good. We rush into the next zone, right here on the edge. Random encounter. 3, roll on the military forces table, 84. Here we go, military forces table. 6. We don't. 2 silent sweep operatives. You notice fresh boot prints in the dust. Then a sudden burst of gunfire shatters the silence. They're already in position. Humans, 1 life, damage 2. Are they just gonna shoot us? 3 in 6 chance of surprise. First round of suppressive fire. Oh, jeez. Okay, so we roll a d6. If the roll fails within the surprise range, the enemy acts first. Otherwise, you act first. So if you counter a 4 with 2 in 6 chance of surprise, you roll a d6. On a 1 or 2, the foe surprises you and acts first. On a 3 through 6, you act first. But since we have our skill of danger sense, 3 in 6 chance, which means it's only a 2 in 6 chance because we have danger sense. We're going to go on ahead and roll this. That is a 5, which means we act first. We make our attack roll, which is our double barrel shotgun, which we can shoot twice if we want to. There's 2 of them. They both only have 1 life though, but they are level 5, which means we divide it by half. So we divide it by 5. So I guess how much damage do we need to do 2 damage? We need to explode first of all. If we get a 5, we divide it by 5. We'd only do 1 damage. Jesus, math, bro. Crazy. Okay, so if we fire both of our barrels at this guy, these guys, +2 for both, we could potentially take them both out because our shotgun can shoot twice, but then we have to take a whole round just to reload. So whatever, let's do it. We're gonna roll both of them twice. Both of our +2. That is a 3, +2 is 5, and a 1 +2 is 3. So we deal 5 and 3, both divided by 5. Sheesh, calculator. You need a calculator to play this game. What is 3 divided by 5? 0.6. It says rounding down. So does that mean we don't deal damage to it? I guess so, but the first one does. First one, 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we take out the first one. Then in the first round, suppressive fire, make a level 4 agility roll or skip your next action. If you roll a natural 1 in defense, take +1 damage from the burst. So even though we've taken out 1, the agility roll doesn't go down at all. Okay. So because of our agility, we have +1 to defense and agility rolls, which is good. That'll help us. So we need at least a 3 on this die. That is a 5, which makes it a 6, which means we succeed, and we jump out of the way. And then we take our whole turn to reload our shotguns, and then they're going to shoot at us again. Now, when it comes to defense rolls, straight up, because that was just their first round, as you can see. So when it comes to defense rolls, when a foe attacks, makes a defense roll by rolling a d6 for each attacking foe. If your roll is equal to or higher than their level, you avoid the attack. So we need to get a 4 on the die to straight up defend from this one guy now just shooting at. That is a 5. Cool. So we got a 6. So we actually defend. And then we're going to shoot both our barrels again. And also we do have shotgun shells, as I have down here on my character sheet. So that means we already shot 2. So we have 8 left. That is a 5 and a 2, so one of them, +2 is 7, is at least going to hit, dealing at least 1 damage, so it's going to take him out. I'm gonna put military. Now, we get loot. 2d6 +10 rub. Rub is the currency in this game. It's kind of funny to me. But as you can see down here, we started with 10 shotgun shells. I wrote it in pen. This means we have 6 left, and we get 1d6 +10 rub. So we'll go ahead and roll that. 2d6 +10 rub. We survived, yeah. So 8 +10 is 18, so we're at 68 now. Roll on the weapons table and supplies table. Gain 1 XP and 1 clue. Sweet. We'll do tallies. 1 XP, 1 clue. And then we get weapons and supplies. So we're going to come this way. Supplies table. We'll do this first since it showed up first. 2d6. That is a 64. Tools. Heavy. Used by technicians to repair rusted weapons. Value of 10 rub. Okay. And weapons. What do we salvage? 26. What is it, a D6 weapons chart? It is a D6 weapons chart. So we'll take the 6. Hell yeah. Kalash, assault rifle, weapon with 2d6 ammo. How much ammo? 7. 7 rifle armor. Put it right there. Cool. We grab the assault rifle and we hoof it. That was our random encounter in this area. So I think I should have rolled for area first, probably. But we'll say it was like on the edge, you know, like they were going after them zombies or something, started shooting at it. So now that we go into this zone area, let's do the exploration thing. So we'll do exploration, event, you know what I mean, scavenging, everything else. That was like a random encounter, so who knows what is what. Here we go. Let's go to the right page. There we are. That is a 10. Corrupted Woods on page 59. So far, I have more thoughts to say about this here game. We'll see how it goes. But that's a 3. Acid Grove. Blackened stumps stretch across a lifeless clearing. No leaves, no sound, only scorched earth and a faint sting in the air. Now, and each time you enter this sector, save versus L5 acid or lose D3 life. Mark it on your map. Acid Grove. +1 surge warning. So it does tell us. Cool. Mark down the surge warning as well. Cool. Now, level 5 acid. We're going to lose life here. That's crazy. That's a 6, but it's cock. Gotta respect the cock. We would have succeeded. That sucks. Here we go. That's a 5, which means we succeed. Cool, because it's meet or beat. Very good. And now that that's done, we can scavenge. After resolving the encounter, we may attempt to scavenge it for useful item. Roll a d6 on the scavenging table below. Add +1 if we have tracker. We don't. Okay, roll a d6. That's a 2. Nothing found. Great. Nothing found here. So then I guess we'll go up this way to number 3. We see the gameplay loop. It's happening. It's happening. We'll do one more encounter. Yes, we will. Just to see if it's fancy dancy. Here we go. That's an 8. Military installations table. Oh, maybe that's why them dudes were just down there shooting at it. The bastards. Okay, d6. 2. Active military base. Occupied barracks and watchtowers. Patrols move between sandbag lines and broken walls. You shouldn't be here and you need to disappear before someone notices. Mark this and all adjacent sectors as a military zone. All adjacent sectors? Because that would be all of this. Maybe we do a star for military so we can do like, so we know that all these are military zones. Military zones. We'll star for that. Roll a 3 in 6 chance of encountering military forces on the military forces table. After resolving this, proceed as usual by rolling for a random encounter or exploration, entering a safe house or performing any applicable action. What? Okay, I was just confused. I was like, are we always supposed to roll for random encounters? No, we're not. I just don't like the way that that's proceed as normal by rolling for random encounter or exploration. Yeah, so we're just gonna explore. So I think it's saying like almost like this is a military zone, but there's still exploration to be had here. So we also get to explore. Again, basically. Interesting. But first, let's resolve the 3 in 6 chance of encountering military forces on 84. Like we kind of already did. Okay, there's a 3 in 6 chance. So every time we step into a military zone, I'm assuming that that's the way that it goes now. This whole area is military. So that's why you could go back through the acid grove, but I don't want to take the chance of taking damage again. So 3 in 6 chance. So 3 and under, we encounter military. That's a 3. We encounter military. Roll again to see what it is. That's a 3. D3 +1 canine units. You encounter handlers with trained dogs used for tracking and takedown. Then we gotta fight them. You may not escape from them. Level 4, humans. At combat start, level 3 will roll dogs, growls, or suffer a -1 to attack rolls for the first round. What? I don't like the way this is worded, bro. Okay, I'm encountering that a lot through this book. And after this encounter, we'll hop over to review and I'll tell you more about my thoughts thus far on this, all right? Okay, D3 +1 canine units. Let's roll our D3. What is that? That is a 3. Great. So 4 canine units. They don't get surprise round, so we get to go first. They all have 1 life. I think level 3 will roll basically means like will, like as if will was a stat, but we don't have will as stat. Maybe it's like attached to a skill, maybe? Because it says will roll or suffer -1 to attack rolls for the first round. So we hear the dogs like the dogs are scaring us, so we need to make a will check to make sure we don't suffer -1 to our attack roll. So that's a 4, so we succeed, so we don't got to worry about it. Now we have all of our shotgun bullets. Let's just use these up, right? They're level 4 humans. We're going to shoot both of these. Both of these have +2 to attack. 2 shotguns. It's a 6 and a 2. And I want to double check the way the shotgun works. Do we do +2 to both bolts? It's kind of interesting. Let's see. Fires both barrels or just one. Your call. No penalty on the second attack. We have to skip a turn to reload after 2 attacks. So we can shoot both of them. Okay. So then I'm going to call this total as 12 divided by their level, which is 4, which means we deal 3 damage, which means we take out 3 of them with the shotgun blast, leaving 1 left, which means we must do a agility check against 4. We have a +1 to this check. That's a 5, meaning we dodge out of the way, but now we have to spend a whole turn reloading. This also brings us down to 4 shotgun shells, writing it down. And now they're going to try to shoot us again. Dodge out of the way. We got a +1 to this. That is a 4, making it a 5, which means we dodge out of the way. And then we're going to shoot our last 2 shotgun shells, giving us a 4 + 4 is 8, divided by 4 is 2 damage, killing them off. Now we get to roll on the supplies table, page 108. Come over here to supplies table. That is 13, which gives us 10 rifle ammo. So we loot from these guys. Very good. Writing it down. Putting us 17. Now that we've resolved that, we come over to our encounters table to see what is actually here. Our exploration table. 2d12, it's a 10. More corrupted woods, which is on page 59. I'm zooming through this now, baby. I understand the game loop. We roll 1d6. That's a 6, giving us a fenced compound. Refuge. Mark it on your map. Fenced compound. Marked. A half-buried building surrounded by rusted fences. Strange wires vanish into the ground. If you choose to break in, make a level 5 intelligence roll to pick the locked gate. Clues may help. We do have one of those. Inside you might find secret documents and something waiting in the dark. Roll on the lost ones table. You find 1 medkit. Okay, so let's see if we can pick the locked gate. Clues may help, so we'll use our clue. Maybe the clue was about this gate, and we'll make an intelligence roll, which you don't have any bonuses to, but we get the +1 from the clue that we're going to spend. That's a 4, so we can't pick it, so that's it. We don't get to go inside. Sad, and that ends that encounter. And then we move over to our next area, which is also going to be a military enforced area. What happens if everything is military? Bro, that'd be crazy. But as we move into it, we roll for our exploration. That's a 10 again, which is also more corrupted woods, which makes that a 1. Choked forest. The trees press in, thick and tangled. Branches snag your gear, scratch your face, and slow you. Too late. You realize everything around is covered in sharp thorns. You're caught like a fly in webbing, exhausted and bleeding. Make a level 5 strength roll. Clues may help. Don't have any of those. On a failure, lose 1 food and 1 life. Try again the next day. On success, break free and stumble upon a stalker's skeleton. Roll on supplies. Okay. 2. So we fail. We lose 1 food and 1 life. Where's our food at? I remember writing it down. This is the first time we've lost health. That's crazy. 8. Our food is over here. 5. And we're still stuck here. Try again the next day. So we're just going to sit down here in this forest camp, and then we're trying again the next day. It's a 4, which means we fail. We lose 1 health. Is that the way this is supposed to go? I think so. We could be stuck in this until we die. Bring this down to 7 and 4. And it shouldn't be the next day, I don't think. That's a 1. Wait a minute. Are we going to die in these thorns? Okay, that's a 5. We succeed. You stumble free and stumble upon stalker supplies. 108. 66. That is more tools. Another toolbox. So I'll just put ×2 on my character sheet here. ×2. Okay. Spiky woods. I have some thoughts about this game. We're going to talk about them a little bit for our review section. I think that was enough of example of play, I think. So now, let's move on to review. Let's do it. Alone Against the Zone. What can I say about this so far? Okay, so start with positives here. I think the theme is really cool. I think the choose your own adventure kind of style of it, but it's all random, so you're not really choosing. It's like roll your own adventure is what I like to call them. It's fun, and I think it's really beginner friendly because it's just D6s and it tells you what to do as you move through it. You know what I mean? You don't have to role play or improv on anything at all, which is kind of surprising to me. You can. You absolutely can. There was a couple of spots where I was like, ooh, I could describe out this scene and we could, I could do a little bit of role play as my character, but I didn't feel like I needed to do that at all to enjoy this game, right? And I kind of wanted to do an example of play as to what you might expect from playing this thing, right? You absolutely could role play and could talk to the guards and, do the stuff and whatever if you wanted to, but you don't have to. And I think that's, weirdly enough, it's a plus for people looking for a game like this. A mechanics game, just straight mechanics, no role play, but it is solo, right? Secondly, good thing, the hex map, Hexcrawl solo is always good. And I think this pulls it off pretty well. I'm kind of hesitant with a couple of things, like we encountered the military installation being everywhere. I'm worried that my whole map might be military installed the whole time. We also didn't encounter any anomalies, but I think it's just because of dice rolls. We did encounter some weird zombies for some reason at the very front, which gave me high hopes, and then it went downhill pretty quickly. But that's the ticket with this game. You never know what you're going to get, right? Because it's all random. You cannot write your own story. You're just playing through whatever the game tells you, which I think is a good and a bad for some people. So let's talk a little bit about the bad now. Usually I don't do bad, but I think that I still really wanted to cover this because, I don't know, it's kind of slightly a hot topic and I love apocalypse games. And so I really wanted to talk about this, especially if it's, you know, the same people who made 4 Against Darkness. I don't like the way this game is written. It's hard for me to read it. And what do I mean by that? Let's go over here for a sec. This game says it's written by Alexei Aperin, based on the Alone Against Fear by Andrea. The editing was by Andrea. Proofreading by Mark. Layout and illustrations were by Alexei. And a special thanks to these people. So Alexei did the writing and all of the illustration. The dedication is also kind of fun, but here's the point. It's written and layout and illustration by that guy. And the reason it's hard for me to read this is when I'm reading it, it doesn't feel like a human has written it. I have no evidence to say against the contrary at all. That's why I only bring it up here. But it just feels, I don't know, it doesn't feel like love, you know? It feels like it doesn't feel like a human has written this game. That also being said, all these illustrations also feel the same way to me. I don't like the illustrations in this book. They're supposed to be there for flavor, to give a little bit of inspiration and what have you. So again, I have no evidence against the contrary, but I just don't like it. and I guess it's always up to everybody's own judgment, right? Whenever you're playing things, right? It just doesn't feel good. Does that make sense? So use your own judgment and take all of this with a grain of salt, okay? And I was like, well, maybe we'll do the example of play and maybe it'll go a little bit better, you know, but it was exactly what I expected. So I usually don't cover things like this that I'm not 100% on, but I still really wanted to because it's Apocalypse and because so many of you folks are interested in it and because of how many people told me I needed to play it. I was like, all right, well, we're going to give it a go. So here I am. That's my thoughts. It's got fun hexcrawl mechanics and it seems very straightforward and I think it's beginner friendly, but I didn't enjoy reading it or looking at all the art. That's Alone Against the Zone. I don't think I'm going to play this again, but if you want more actual anomaly, crazy zone funness, come to the Twitch channel because we're going to be having some fun doing a similar thing like this every Monday, at least for now, until we move on to a different system, depending on whenever you're watching this video. And we're actually using a mismatch of different systems in that, right? We're going to be using ICRPG and some mutations from the Zone board game and other kinds of fun shenanigans. Also Table Fables Modern, which we did showcase a little bit today. We're going to be having some fun over there and it's all going to be chat involved. You guys are going to be doing polls and helping me decide on stuff the whole way through. So, and that's why we're leaning into chaos for the first time, just to see how it goes. All right. So come and check that out if you want to. If you want some actual Zone anomaly stuff, that's where it'll be happening. But that's it for that. There will be a link if you want to check it out for yourself. Honestly, I would love to hear what you guys think about all my thoughts about it down there in comments below, because I still just don't know what to think. Like, what the shit? That's kind of like my full thought process. All right. Everybody enjoy yourself. I have been Turk. Take a seat on the couch by subscribing, or at least until you find yourselves alone against the zone yourselves. Roll on that, weirdos, and I'll see you next time. Toodaloo!